beautiful fall day here in North Carolina. I got the warm weather gear on. This is about as warm as you need to get in North Carolina most days. But anyway, I work with this young guy named Tyler at work. He's just a sheer pleasure to be around. He's always cracking jokes, always making me laugh. He says to me one day, "Hey, you're making everybody else all this stuff. When are you going to make me a charcuterie board?" I said, "Well, Tyler," I said, "I don't know if I got enough wood to make you a charcuterie board." Looks like I'm making a charcuterie board. Let's get started. So if we're going to use scrap wood, the first step is to get a general idea of how these things are going to be laid out. Obviously we need a handle up here, and of course it comes down and it gets wider on the bottom so you can put your cheese and accoutrement on there. First step is to take the smallest one of this scrap pile, or the shortest one, and that will be what we make the height of the charcuterie board with. We'll take them over to the table saw and we'll trim all of these off to the correct height. Then I can start slicing and maybe even come up with some more pieces to make this unique. Now you can see that this is getting a little more interesting now that everybody's the same height. Now we'll chop these ends off to make them nice and square. We'll do a glue up, and then we'll draw some outlandish pattern on here. We'll have ourselves a charcuterie board, as we like to call them here in the shop.
When I started this glue up, I noticed a problem. My pipes are so long it was creating a teeter-totter effect. I couldn't make them sit still, so that was my solution, some blocks and wedges on the tails. Worked out pretty good. So let's start putting some yellow goop on these. Now don't get nervous, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me put all these pieces together. We're going to jump ahead here in just a little bit. Through the magic of YouTube camera work and video editing. If you're paying attention here, you'll see that I just made a mistake. I didn't need glue on the last piece, so we had to wipe it off and clean it off before we put it in the clamps. another wooden projectile from off camera, and my wife likes to turn that camera on every now and then and catch me doing things that make me look foolish, as you're about to see. I'm about to use my belt sander, and my bench does not have dogs, so by clamping that board on the end, when I hit the charcuterie board with the belt sander, it doesn't throw the board off the table. And as you can see, it holds it pretty well. Now, something else I'm going to do here is take a pencil and I'm going to put a light mark over the entire surface of this charcuterie board. That way I'll know that I have even sanding. And you'll see me doing that right here. There were some small imperfections in this board. By that I mean little bitty cracks. And to fix those, I take a little bit of glue, dab it into the hole, and sand over it. And voila, they're repaired. When you're finished, you can't even see where the little opening was. Now I'm going to freehand this shape, and the object is to utilize as much of this wood as I can, so that's kind of showing me where I want the line to go just by the length of the sticks that are available. But as you can see, when it comes out, it's a pretty neat pattern. That's the beauty of these charcuterie boards. They're abstract. They don't have to be perfect. Now I do have a CNC machine, and I could have let that CNC machine cut this entire thing out. But I thought, you know what, just for fun, we'll do it the old-fashioned way with the bandsaw and a hole saw to cut the handle hole. When you're cutting irregular shapes on the bandsaw, you'll cut a series of reliefs, as I'm doing here, so that as you're making the turn, it doesn't pinch the blade or bind against the blade. The little piece of wood will jump out and get out of your way. This is kind of a lucky break here. I didn't have enough room between the fence and the blade to make that tight corner, but the gap in the wood here was wide enough that I could put the saw blade in there, turn the board, and make that cut almost straight. Just a lucky break, a lucky gap in the wood. Here we have to break out the old bandsaw to make that corner. That one is just too tight for the big RIKON that I have. It's fun to use the old tools though. This saw certainly has a purpose and a place in my shop. It doesn't get used often, but when it does, it's a lifesaver for a project. As you watch me use this sander, you'll see the dust flying in the sunlight back there. I do have my dust collection system turned on. That just shows you how bad the dust extractor is on that sander. Aside from that, that thing is a beast. It does a very good job, and it does help you to transform this thing into a smooth, outlined board. Spindle sander makes quick work of the inside of that hole, and the router cleans up the edges. Other than when you hand the finished project to the customer or the client or your friend, this part of the project is the most satisfying. When you pour that oil on top of them boards and the different colors in that wood pop. If you've stuck with me this far, I appreciate it. I want to thank you for watching the video. As always, I hope you got something out of this video. I hope maybe you learned something. If you think I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel, share the video, and give me a comment. I always enjoy reading those. As always, we'll catch you on the next one.